Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Regulation C VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I wanted to try out a really fun anti-meta Trick Room team featuring Bronzong, Abomasnow, and Band Ting Lu. One of the main ideas behind the team is that, first of all, Band Ting Lu just does so much damage, and there aren't that many flying types that are being used in the format right now, so Banded Earthquake just really does a ton. In addition, you have Weakness Policy Abomasnow with Water Terra, as well as Gyro Ball from Bronzong to activate the Weakness Policy. So the idea is that Abomasnow actually matches up really well into a lot of the Pokemon in the format right now, especially like the Fire, Water, Grass core, and with Water Terra, it really covers for that Fire weakness on Abomasnow. Abomasnow's typing also just helps out a ton before a Terra against things like Palafin and Amoonguss, and if you Terra into Water, you have a really good matchup into Fire types like Arcanine. Bronzong is just a really valuable Trick Room setter in the format as well. And so this team was built by one of my favorite team builders, Bars, and so huge thank you to him for building and sharing the team. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down below. And thanks so much as always for joining me. If you enjoy, I'd really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel as we near 200,000 subscribers. Anyway, let's get started. A huge thank you to Bars once again for building and sharing this team. I've linked his Twitter down in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste. And question of the day, inspired by us using Trick Room, I want to know what's one Pokemon you wish got Trick Room in the current Pokedex. The first Pokemon I want to highlight is the Bronzong. Now, Bronzong's a really interesting pick because, first of all, it gets access to Levitate, which is really nice in itself. In addition, it's just a really bulky Trick Room user, and it also gets access to Safeguard. Of course, one of the things that can be kind of annoying for Trick Room teams is going up against Amoonguss, because Amoonguss is just so naturally slow. Although I have noticed that very few Amoonguss right now are running min speed, and so as a result, one of the nice things about this Bronzong is being able to Safeguard before a lot of the Amoongusses out there, thus preventing them from sporing the rest of your team, like Pokemon like Ting Lu, for example. So the general idea behind this Bronzong is pretty simple. Set up Trick Room, Gyro Ball to self-activate your Weakness Policy on Abomasnow. Don't discount the amount of damage Gyro Ball can do, by the way, into something like Flutter Mane, which is just so fast. That in itself can just get a one-hit knockout onto Flutter Mane, which is really nice. Safeguard to protect yourself from spores, as I mentioned earlier, and Protect. Protect is actually a pretty big deal on this Bronzong because I think a lot of people, when they go up against Bronzong, don't expect Protect. They actually expect things like Iron Defense plus Body Press, for example. This set does not have that at all. So Protect is really nice because it allows you to lead things like Choice Flex Flutter Mane plus Bronzong or Choice Band Ting Lu plus Bronzong and just go for a ton of damage with your choice user while diverting attention away from Bronzong. Part of the idea is that like Bronzong often focuses a lot of attention from your opponents because your opponents really want to deny it Trick Room. A lot of people will often just double up into it with the expectation that it doesn't have Protect. So having Protect on this set, in my opinion, is a really big deal. Fire Terra is just kind of a nice defensive Terra because you have Levitate still, right? So then ground type attacks still don't hit you for super effective damage, and it just gets rid of a lot of your weaknesses, such as your weakness to Dark and your weakness to Ghost, for example. And so with Bronzong, I often pair it with like Iron Hands as a lead, right? Very simple, just fake out into Trick Room or even Volt Switch into Trick Room. And the general idea is that Hands is just a really strong attacker between Close Combat and Wild Charge, and you can Volt Switch out going into Abomasnow immediately for the self-Gyro Ball into Weakness Policy combination. Abomasnow, as I mentioned in the introduction, really interesting as an anti-meta pick right now because it actually can be super strong into so many of the common Fire, Water, and Grass Pokemon, right? Like, for example, Palafin is really common, Amoonguss is really common, Abomasnow is a really good matchup into both of those. Fire types are common, such as Arcanine and Chi-Yu, and Abomasnow can just Water Terra to get around the weakness and then just Earth Power them in return, basically. So the idea is that Abomasnow can just do a lot of damage and has really good coverage between Ice, Grass, and the ground, right? And so that combination in itself is awesome. So that's one of your primary attackers under Trick Room. Often a setup is just like, lead Hands Bronzong, Volt Switch out, bring out Abomasnow, Gyro Ball, and then just try to sweep with Abomasnow and Bronzong, and then clean up the game with something like Flutter or Ting Lu. Band Ting Lu is one of the other Pokemon on this team, and I think it's really interesting because normally when people go up against Ting Lu, maybe they expect it to have some offensive investment, but Choice Band is a whole nother story. You throw Choice Band plus Ground Terra on top of this Pokemon, and suddenly it's doing so much damage. There still are a lot of teams out there that just don't have any flying types, and like their only way to get around ground type attacks is like Flying Terra, for example. And so like the Ting Lu just synergizes so nicely with Bronzong, right? That's one of the other reasons you want to use Bronzong specifically on this team because of that Levitate. So it synergizes really nicely with Choice Band Ting Lu because you can just go for Earthquake next to Bronzong. Ting Lu is also really nice in just decreasing the damage output of opposing special attackers, and so sometimes I've even just led Ting Lu Bronzong if I feel like my opponent can't just knock these out easily and just go straight for like Ground Terra, Earthquake into Trick Room, dish out a lot of damage early with Ting Lu, and then sweep the game with like Abomasnow plus Flutter in the end game, for example. To round things out, you've got Flutter. This is a very bulky Flutter, as you can see, not that much special attack investment. Actually has a good amount of speed investment as well, and the idea is to outspeed a lot of those Flutters that run special attack booster rather than speed booster, for example. And the idea is to obviously just maximize your damage output while also having a lot of HP and defense to survive things like Jet Punch from Palafin. So yeah, pretty straightforward here. Flutters, I found a really good closer with this team, or a really good lead option. Like Flutter Bronzong's the lead I like. Otherwise, I often like Hands Bronzong, one of Abomasnow and Ting Lu, and then Flutter to clean up the game, for example, after Trick Room has expired. Because often you won't just win the game immediately in your couple of turns of Trick Room. Arcanine's the Pokemon I brought out the least while using this team, but it is a interesting set with Mirror Herb, which is particularly handy into Dondozo teams, right? The idea is that you can just like copy the speed boosts and all the other boosts from Dondozo and then burn them with Will-O-Wisp. Being able to burn Dondozo is just such a big deal in itself. You've also got Flying Terra here, which synergizes nicely with Ting Lu, so one other way you could play with this team is just lead Ting Lu plus Arcanine immediately and go for Flying Terra with Earthquakes while Arcanine spreads good damage while also being able to burn things, right? So you don't always have to commit to Trick Room. This isn't like a definitive hard Trick Room team. However, sometimes it feels like hard Trick Room because if you go with Hands, Bronzong, Abomasnow, Ting Lu, then you are really just going to be slower than your opponent for the most part. And if Trick Room doesn't go up in that scenario, it can be a little bit hard. But, you know, because Flutter and Arcanine exist on this team, it's not like you always have to commit to setting up Trick Room immediately, for example. But generally, setting up Trick Room is pretty good for this team. So as I mentioned, in terms of modes, I think Hands plus Bronzong, Flutter plus Bronzong, Ting Lu plus Bronzong, all really solid leads. And then often I'll want a combination of like Abomasnow and Ting Lu in the back if I'm setting up Trick Room, for example. And then don't discount like late game Flutter and sweeping your opponent, for example. So yeah, you of course don't need to commit to Bronzong as a lead either, but unless they have like so many Bronzong counters, whether that be like Taunt or multiple Pokemon that can hit it for super effective, or like a combination of Pokemon that can cover for it being Fire Terra, I do often like leading this. But of course you could consider things like Arcanine plus Flutter, for example, quick Intimidate doing a lot of damage, and then you could go with something like, you know, any two of the four really, but you could consider like a late game Trick Room Bronzong with the Abomasnow in the back. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for a quick breakdown. Let's quickly highlight some weaknesses. So in terms of weaknesses, I think naturally the first thing to note is that the Bronzong here does not have something like a Covert Cloak. It does not have something like a Mental Orb, so it's vulnerable to Fake Out. It's vulnerable to Taunt. There was one game where my opponent led Annihilate, and in Best of 1, I really had no idea what kind of Annihilate it was, whether it was Choice Scarf Final Gambit. And they had Annihilate plus Glamora, and they went Shadow Claw plus Power Gem, which essentially covered for me Terraring and not going for a Terra. So that's really nice. If you're going up against this team and you know it's Fire Terra Bronzong, obviously allows you to cover for its Terra a little bit more, especially if you have super effective like rock or water type attacks, right? And so that combination in particular can be pretty deadly. There was one game I lost because my opponent just had Taunt on Corviknight. I led Hands plus Bronzong, didn't expect Taunt. It prevented Trick Room from going up, and then I got put into a really awkward position. One thing to note is if you commit to the Hands, Bronzong, Abomasnow, Ting Lu combo, right? It's like a Taunt or Bronzong just fainting puts you into a really, really bad spot if you haven't gotten Trick Room up already. So that's one thing that you'll really want to keep in mind, and that's one thing you'll want to keep in mind if you're trying to beat this team as well. I think with Ting Lu, naturally relies very heavily on these ground type attacks, and so Pokemon with Air Balloon, Pokemon Levitate, and obviously Flying type Pokemon or Flying Terras can really cause Ting Lu a lot of trouble. Naturally, like Ting Lu is really good if your opponent doesn't have any ground immunities, but something like a Gyarados is a big deal because it can just intimidate Ting Lu while also being immune to Earthquake. And the thing with Ting Lu is like, yeah, you have to kind of position it properly, and if your opponent does end up bringing those flying types and you're locked into a ground type attack, it puts you into a really difficult position. So flying types in general, or anything immune to Earthquake, can be very handy, especially like Gyarados with Intimidate. So if you just like scout for what this locks itself into early, that can be really handy. So that's one other thing to note. And I think with Abomasnow, right, like this Pokemon can be really solid, but, you know, I have had games where essentially like I end up Terraring and then they actually take advantage of the Terra by going for like super effective grass and electric type attacks, for example. Abomasnow is a Pokemon that feels like it often has to Terra to get around its fire type weakness in particular. And so if you're able to like force that Terra and then use other super effective attacks, that can be really valuable. And yeah, I think those are just a couple of main things that I've noted. Not sure with Flutter main, right? Like it's also choice specs, and so if it locks itself into attack, you can leverage that to your advantage. I think I had one game where I essentially actually lost in a 1v1 Flutter main against, it was like Poison Terra Wo-Chien, because they were able to Snarl plus Leech Seed me and heal back while I wasn't able to do that much damage with Shadow Ball, for example. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for a couple of quick weaknesses. Let's get into these games. We've got Flutter main Chi-Yu, Dragonite, Ting Lu, Wo-Chien, and Glamora. 3 of the 4 room Pokemon, which I think is pretty interesting. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to go for the Bronzong Abomasnow combo under Trick Room. Sorry about that. That was my phone. I could lead with Hands and Bronzong, for example. Hands, Bronzong, Abomasnow, and then Ting Lu. Specs Flutter is also worth considering just with Dazzling Gleam across the board. Perhaps over Ting Lu. But Banded Ting Lu does seem kind of cool here. Alright, let us try this out. Arcanine I don't think is really that valuable here. My opponent's team index is a little bit more on special attackers. And Mirror Herb I don't think is super valuable as an item for us here. I think you can make a very good argument for Flutter Mane over Ting Lu. Because essentially it's like you play with the Trick Room mode in the first couple of turns and then try to end the game with Specs Flutter, but I want to try this out. It's going to be Bronzong plus the Iron Hands. Flutter gets a Photosynthesis boost. It's going to be Speed. Okay. Speed is not that scary. I'm happy to just click Fake Out then onto Glamora and honestly just Trick Room here. Good Volt Switch as well, but I think Iron Hands and Bronzong right now actually put in a lot of work by themselves. Okay. Flutter goes for Protect. Perfect. So we're going to Fake Out. Toxic Debris. Flinch. And Trick Room. Cool. I think now I have a bunch of options. Gyro Ball in itself is really powerful here. Like, I could just close combat into Glamora and Gyro Ball into Flutter. I'm down for that. So Flutter switches into Wo-Chien. Okay, that makes sense. You get a little bit of damage onto both of these. That's a little bit more than just a little bit. I'll take that. Okay. Another layer of Toxic Spikes. Oh, interesting. You're just going to go for Mortal Spin. Okay. So really prioritizing Poison right now. Which is fine. Leftovers on Wo-Chien, which is okay. I think it's pretty safe to... Honestly, part of what I want to go for right now is, like, Safeguard and Volt Switch. Volt Switch into you, and then Safeguard. Then I can just go for the Gyro Ball into Blizzard combo afterwards. Nice. Wo-Chien protects. Like, the thing is, I feel like my opponent's team is really passive, so I can take advantage of it. Alright, they're going to just double protect. That's fine. It's honestly very possible that I get a second Trick Room up in this game as well. Like, Hands plus Bronzong right now is honestly just putting in the work. But I think Abomasnow with Blizzard is going to be so strong. The main thing is, like, Trick Room is slowly expiring, right? So I have to keep that in mind. Still have 2 turns left. Yeah, like... I'm down to double up onto Glamora, Volt Switch plus Gyro Ball, because the thing is, like, Wo-Chien is just not really a problem for Abomasnow at all. So in doing this, I get Abomasnow out safely, I can go for the Gyro Ball combo, and even if they double protect, right, like, Abomasnow is still a huge threat afterwards, and it's really difficult to deal with both the combination of the +2 Abomasnow plus Bronzong. In this game, I didn't bring, like, the Abomasnow out immediately, because I felt like the Hands in itself was just so well positioned. So Gyro Ball fails to get the KO there, but Volt Switch will finish it off. Perfect. And, like, this is one of the scenarios where I just think, like, Wo-Chien is honestly so passive for my opponent, it's hard for them to get too much value out of it right now. So, let's bring the Weakness Policy Abomasnow out. Okay. Sets up the Snow. I'm going to go for Leech Seed. Yep, that's fine. Like, this next turn, I'm going to just Gyro Ball, activate the Weakness Policy, and then go from there. It's likely my opponent will probably just try to double protect, but that's honestly fine. A +2 Abomasnow at full health is going to be kind of hard for them to deal with. And I'd say Glamora was one of the bigger threats to the Abomasnow earlier on in this battle. Chiyu's being the other one. But the thing about Chiyu is that we can just potentially go for the Water Terra here. The question is when we want to go for that Terra, honestly. Because if I Terra now, I don't get the Weakness Policy activation. Okay, I'm down to Earth Power and Gyro Ball this turn. Oh, interesting. Neither of their Pokemon Terra. Wow. Okay, wouldn't have expected that. Well, if it's Sash Chiyu, this is going to be a problem. But if it's anything but Sash Chiyu, I should just win the game off this turn, honestly. Nice. Let's go, Abomasnow. Okay, I said I should win the game. Let's actually secure the victory now. But that puts me into really, really good shape. Polymorph actually does do a significant amount of damage there, so I guess we're technically not really out of things quite yet. But I think with Band Ting Lu now in this endgame, I'm feeling pretty good. I think what I can honestly do is just protect Abomasnow, and then Terra Bronzong, and just Trick Room. Yeah, I feel like that's really safe here. Protect, Terra, Trick Room. Because we know it's not choice specs on the Flutter Mane. We know that it's more invested in speed than special attack. So you really shouldn't have that much offense to threaten me. The only thing I'm worried about here is a potential critical hit. And even if they were to knock us out, honestly, Choice Band Ting Lu in this endgame is also looking really powerful. But I'd say the turn against Chiyu was a little bit scary just because Sash is a decently common item on that Pokemon, so if they were Focus Sash there, I might actually lose both of my Mons. I was honestly expecting them to just double protect, which is why I didn't go for a Terra on Abomasnow there. So we're going to protect. They're just going to go for Shadow Ball. Yep. Beautiful. We take that. Pollen Puff into the Abomasnow. Yep. And Trick Room goes up. Beautiful. So here I think it's likely my opponent should protect the Flutter and then Terra with the Wo-Chien. Try to KO Abomasnow. I'm happy honestly just clicking Blizzard and Gyro Ball here. Because the Choice Band Ting Lu plus Iron Hands here is so much offense in this endgame. Like the fact we got Trick Room up twice in this game just makes it so much easier for us. So, yep, it's Wo-Chien going for the Terra. It's going to be water, sure. But that means I can just Wild Charge you now so easily with the Ting Lu. Sorry, not Ting Lu, Iron Hands. Yep. Fairly predictable, but don't feel the need to go for any aggressive predictions here. +2 Blizzard. Still doing okay amount. I'm not sure Pollen Puff actually guarantees the knockout either. And that first one did do a ton though, right? Okay. This is one of the other reasons why Blizzard is so nice. Your freeze chance is actually really solid. But it does thaw out immediately. Talk about a turn. And Abomasnow survives on 1 HP. That's why I was like, I'm not sure it gets the KO. Okay. Continues to heal back. No more safeguard. Yeah, my only question here is whether or not we think Flutter survives a Blizzard. Sorry, a Gyro Ball. Realistically, if Flutter Mane faints, we just win the game immediately. So, like, the safe play is to just Giga Drain here and Gyro Ball, but their obvious play... Oh, actually, Wo-Chien's out on the field. Yeah, so I would expect Flutter to survive if they're really invested. I'm just going to go for Blizzard and Gyro here. KO Flutter. Yeah, perfect. Basically, the one way I could lose this is if Flutter, like, goes for Dazzle, gets the KO, I faint. I mean, even then, I don't think I lose, quite frankly, with Choice Band Ting Lu in the back, but yeah. Blizzard is going to knock out the Flutter, and now a single Giga Drain. I would think KO's the Wo-Chien, but we'll see. And this is just fundamentally, I think, one of the issues with Wo-Chien. It's just kind of passive, and it's like, whatever partner Pokemon was next to Wo-Chien throughout the course of this match never exerted that much offensive pressure onto my side of the field. And yeah, Fire Terra Bronzong is really nice in getting multiple Trick Rooms up as well and getting around that Ghost weakness. So Giga Drain. And I'm happy to switch into hands here. I am curious if Giga Drain gets the one-hit KO here. I mean, it's +2, same type attack bonus, boosted. Hands comes out. Almost gets the KO. You were so close, Abomasnow, but Abomasnow put in so much work in this game. Got the one-hit knockout into Chi-Yu, finished off the Flutter, did 90% onto the Wo-Chien as well. Wo-Chien's moveset is now confirmed as well. Giga Drain, Pollen Puff, Leech Seed, Protect. Yeah, I can continue to heal back ever so slowly, but you're just never going to get knockouts, especially onto Iron Hands here. Okay. Still even have another turn of Trick Room, but yeah, I mean, Giga Drain plus Wild Charge. We just clicked that twice. So, you can protect to stall out the Trick Room, but how are you going to knock out both Pokemon next turn? And we still had Choice Band Ting Lu in the back. Don't forget about that, right? Like, that was kind of a late game sweeper as well. So, in the end, yeah, I just felt like my opponent didn't really have too much offense. And I think the lead, like, you know, booster Flutter into Bronzong immediately put them into a pretty tough spot. I think also them just protecting on turn 1, you know, kind of forcing them to switch out on the second turn also put them into a rough spot. And we honestly just had way better offense relative to them here. So, yeah, Kick Drain, Wild Charge again. But I'm really happy about the performance Abomasnow put in, right? Like, one of the things is that Water Terror right now is really common. So, Abomasnow having that super effective +2 Giga Drain is really valuable. We almost one-shot Wo-Chien, which is, of course, one of the bulkier Pokemon in the format as well. So, yeah, that was a really fun first game here to get started with this Trick Room Abomasnow team. And all the Pokemon put in work, right? Like, Bronzong's so essential in setting up Trick Room. Safeguard, I don't think really was that important, but I wanted to... Actually, I say it wasn't that important, but if I hadn't set up Safeguard, Abomasnow would have taken poison damage, meaning then I wouldn't have survived the Pollen Puffs, right? So it was actually a really big deal getting that Safeguard up. And Gyro Ball, obviously, really good damage into the Flutter. Fire Terror to get around our weakness. Abomasnow really just taking advantage of that weakness policy. And Ting Lu would have been the perfect closer for us as well. So, yeah. Okay, we've got Mouse Ape, Chien-Pao Dragonite, and Fluttermane Chi-Yu. 3 very apparent combinations, essentially. The thing about Mouse Ape, I don't know what mouse it's gonna be and what ape it's gonna be. Like, it could be Final Gambit Population Bomb, but even if it's just the regular Ghost Terra and beat up into Rage Fist, it's pretty bad for Bronzong. I wonder if I actually lead Arcanine here then solely to try to, you know, Will-O-Wisp it. I think one other consideration is actually like Choice Band Ting Lu plus Bronzong. I'm pretty worried about my ability to actually set up Trick Room here because they have Annihilate plus potential Ghost Terra Mouse, so it could be Ghost Terra Chi-Yu plus Flutter as well. So like Fake Out's basically just not nearly as effective as I'd like it to be. Okay, maybe we actually go with something like Flutter plus Bronzong then, with Ting Lu and Abomasnow in the back. Basically, the idea here is that, like, Flutter applies a ton of offensive pressure, so let's say you lead with Mouse Hold plus Annihilate. Like, are you really going to just let me go for Choice Specs Moonblast, right? It kind of forces the Terror out immediately. So, that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. But yeah, it could be Scarf Gambit. Alright, they go with Flutter and Chi-Yu, though. Okay. Honestly, I don't mind that too much, I think. Reboost your energy? No. What do I want to do here? I'm honestly thinking of just hard switching into Ting Lu, Fire Terra, and then Trick Room. Because Ting Lu drops their special attack, and then I just have Choice Band Earthquake plus Gyro Ball going into the next turn, which sounds really strong. I think I also could have attacked with Flutter, but I just like don't know their items here. They're not going to go for a Terra, that's fine. In an ideal world, like something protects here on turn 1. But if I were them, I'd probably be doubling up onto Bronzong. So the other consideration was to actually protect Bronzong and just like Dazzling Gleam turn 1. I thought about that as well. The main thing is I don't know the items on their end nor the speeds. Alright, Chiyu moves first. So it's probably Choice Scarf then. Perfect. Oh, that is such a good turn for us. Perfect. Yep, that's exactly what I was going for. Trick Room goes up. Excellent. Hey, now I've got Choice Band Earthquake, which in itself is just already really strong. Dragonite's the main thing we want to look out for here. So, all Earthquake. I think Chiyu probably switches out into Dragonite here. Happy to Gyro Ball that slot. And if they don't have Dragonite, I think Ting Lu honestly just sweeps them right now. Okay, it's Mouse Hold. Oh, this is a good play. So they brought it out for Friend Guard. Yeah, that's really smart. I'm still okay with this, though, because like Earthquake just does a ton of damage, right? Interestingly enough, does not actually knock out neither Pokemon. But they also don't KO us, thanks to the special attack drop. So, I'll take that. This turn's interesting, because you would think they would contemplate protecting right now. So I'm actually thinking about hard switching into Abomasnow and Gyro Balling to get this activated, but I also think it's fine to just, like, safeguard an Earthquake here. Ting Lu is just so well positioned. Mouse protects. Flutter doesn't protect, interesting. I was wondering if it was Choice Specs, because I thought the lack of a protect last turn was really surprising. But yeah, this is the strength of Ting Lu, and if I had conserved my Terra, I would have been able to even Terra that and just completely sweep with it, but I wanted to ensure that I survived the combination of Chiyu plus Flutter Mane, and I felt like with Ting Lu switching in and them probably not clicking like a Fairy type attack immediately, probably be in pretty good shape. Okay, Annihilate is their last one. There's still 2 turns of Trick Room. Flutter in the back from my end is really good. I'm happy to just Gyro Ball into this and Earthquake here. Because the thing is, it's Scarf Chiyu, so if I KO the... Like, I think Mouse honestly needs to go for a double protect right now. But basically, if I KO the Mouse Hold... Oh, it doesn't try to protect, okay. I'll have one more turn of Trick Room to work with. I guess Chiyu then could go for a defensive Terra, but then, like, Flutter in the late game now looks really good, in my opinion. So no more Friend Guard now. Earthquake should do a little bit more. Oh my gosh, that did so much. They're not Citrus Berry, so it's probably lefties on this. Yep. But Citrus Annihilate has definitely popped up more recently on Mousehold Annihilate comps. So I think you have to Terra Chiyu, but even with the Terra, I'm not sure you survive a combination of Earthquake and Gyro Ball. So I'm just going to double up on Chiyu right now, because I guess it could theoretically be a really slow Flutter, and this isn't Choice Scarfed, but we'll see. I think with me having Flutter in the back, I feel pretty good. But one of the things about the team that I'm using here is that like things can actually devolve really quickly if they manage to stall out your Trick Room. But yeah, they don't go for a Protect on the Chiyu. Pretty sure it's Scarfed. It would just be really weird to see, I mean, like Flutter would, it would imply like the Flutter just has no speed investment, right, if they weren't Scarfed. But we get that knockout, nice. 4v1 now. And one of the fun things is like the Annihilate, if it like Drain Punches into the Abomasnow with the snow being up, it would actually end up activating Weakness Policy as well. So I'm happy to just EQ here in Trick Room. And like I still have Flutter waiting in the back as well, right? So you can't possibly cover for all 4 Pokemon right now, especially with no Rage Fist stacks. So I think this is another clear example of basically set up Trick Room and then just win the game from there. Drain Punch is going to knock out Bronzong, but now Earthquake is actually treated as single target since, yeah, there's no partner Pokemon on their side or on my side. What's interesting is that they just didn't Terra this game, right? I thought a Chi-Yu Terra would have at least made some sense last turn, but single target Choice Band EQ from Ting Lu. Almost just one-shots Annihilate from that range. But now we just bring out Flutter. And I can just switch the Ting Lu out. Get rid of the special attack debuff. Bring out Abomasnow. And Moonblast should cover for any Terra they could go for. Like, I could click Shadow Ball here, but yeah, I mean, they could... Normal Terra would seem so wild, but might as well cover for it. So, yeah. But, yeah, I think, like I was saying earlier, this was very similar to the previous game in which I just set up Trick Room. They didn't, like, turn 1 had a way to deny the Trick Room. They didn't have a great way to deny the Trick Room. Like, Imprison Flutter was what I was worried about there primarily. But yeah, I'm happy to showcase the strength of Choice Band Ting Lu in this one, because the previous game was about the Abomasnow. This one was very much about Ting Lu, right? Like, just distributed so much damage with Banded EQ, and even though it wasn't getting knockouts, it was doing like 50, 60, 70% to practically everything on their team, and they didn't bring Dragonite, which made the game a lot easier for me, because everything else on their team just took so much damage from Earthquake. So, once again, one of the strengths of using Trick Room is that there are a lot of Pokemon right now that are like super fast, right? You have like Booster Speed, Flutter, Choice Scarf Chi-Yu, for example. This team in particular really takes advantage of like those Pokemon because they're just so ineffective under Trick Room. So, yeah. Okay, we've got Palafin, Dragonite, Glamora, Flutter, Amoonguss, and Ting Lu for this one. So I think Abomasnow on paper looks really good. I'm actually thinking about like a Ting Lu plus Bronzong lead. Because Earthquake honestly just looks really good here from the start. With the Abomasnow and Flutter in the back. I want to try this mode out. I like, basically the idea is that Ting Lu applies a ton of offensive pressure right from turn 1, right? Bronzong can Safeguard, which is really nice. Like, Bronzong has Safety Goggles plus Safeguard really to deal with the Amoonguss, and the Bronzong Abomasnow combination is really nice into Amoonguss as well. Abomasnow in general here mainly has to worry about, say, Flying Terra Blast from Dragonite and, you know, Power Gem / Sludge Bomb from Glamora. But it's really good into Palafin. I think that's one of the reasons why this Abomasnow is such a nice anti-meta pick. Right? Like, you can really wall Palafin while also healing back so much with Giga Drain, so you really win that 1v1 trade-off. Let's see. Palafin plus Glamora. I'm okay with that. Ting Lu is looking very good turn 1. Now, they could go for, like, Water Terror and just try to KO Ting Lu. In this position, I'm honestly pretty happy to just Trick Room into Earthquake immediately. Especially because I think not many people consider Choice Band on the Ting Lu here, so I would expect, like, Palafin switching into Amoonguss. Yep. Very nice. And it's just Mortal Spin, that's fine. That's a really interesting Mortal Spin. Like, this now means Ting Lu cannot get put to sleep by Amoonguss, so I'll gladly take that. I think this puts them in a really tough spot, honestly. It's actually Shuka Berry Glamora. Okay. Very interesting. And I still get the one-hit KO. Oh my goodness. Nice. Okay. So now what? Got in Trick Room up. You can't put the Ting Lu to sleep, but you can obviously bring out Palafin and like start Water Terra attacking. Palafin comes back out. Yeah. I don't need to Terra Abomasnow. I don't need to Terra this. I'm honestly thinking about just going for Terra on Ting Lu here. Yeah, so I'm happy to Safeguard here, Terra, and EQ. Basically, the logic behind this play is I think in order for them to knock me out, they have to go for Water Terra, Jet Punch. And if you do that, you've committed your Terra, I get Safeguard up, I get Abomasnow out, and I can just Gyro Ball into Giga Drain onto the Palafin slot. Because, like, Abomasnow Bronzong will completely demolish Palafin Amoonguss right now. And they don't Terra. Beautiful. So we get Safeguard up. Yep. They try to Spore me. Into Bronzong, actually. Here's Earthquake. Okay. That is so much damage. If they Wave Crash here, they might even faint. No, I don't think they'll faint from recoil, but they'll be super low. Bulk up? Oh. I didn't even know Palafin got bulk up. Wow, I learned something new today. Bulk up leftovers Palafin. That's wild. What? But what are your other moves? Jet Punch, Wave Crash? Like, Protect? That would make sense, right? The reality is Abomasnow should still win pretty well against that. Flutter comes out. Flutter probably protects here. But I still have 3 turns of Trick Room to work with. Plus an Abomasnow. So I'm happy to just Gyro Ball here into Earthquake. Okay, it's probably a double protect here. Yep. There is a world... I don't think Palafin can sweep me, though, with my Abomasnow waiting in the back with Giga Drain. Like, because basically if I KO Flutter first... I think the main scenario I'm worried about is, okay, so they double protected, they stalled on another turn of Trick Room, now they Water Terra Palafin, Jet Punch, KO Ting Lu, and then Flutter survives Gyro Ball. Because I could switch Ting Lu out. I don't really want to do that, though. Alright, I'll just Gyro Ball Earthquake. They don't Terra. Oh, that still KOs me. Uh-oh. I guess I shouldn't be shocked by that. I mean, it's +1, so it's essentially like a Choice Band Jet Punch. Alright, is that Sashed? Oh, it was actually Sash Flutter. Sash Flutter is not that common these days, so I wasn't sure what the likelihood of that was going to be. Okay. Yeah, that was like the worst case scenario. They didn't Terra, they got the KO onto me, and they ended up being Focus Sashed. And I don't have Ice Shard here, but I guess they don't technically know that. Man, bulk up leftovers, that's fascinating. It's really cool. I don't know, double protect here makes the most sense from their end, right? I'm thinking we hard switch Bronzong out into Flutter, apply more offensive pressure with that next turn. Giga Drain. They could theoretically protect Palafin here and actually attack with Flutter, which is slightly concerning. Nice. Okay. Whew. That was too close for comfort, though, honestly. Yeah, I think double protect would have put them into a better shape. But the idea is, even if you go for double, I bring out Flutter, and then like you can't knock out both Pokemon immediately, and I apply so much offensive pressure. But yeah, like the reality is that Focus Sash Flutter Mane is not that common these days, so wasn't sure if my opponent was going to be carrying that, and them having it actually caused a lot of issues for me here. Because the idea was to ideally just knock out Flutter as quickly as possible. But yeah, Leftovers bulk up, also really interesting. But this is another game of Ting Lu putting in a lot of work in the early game, and Abomasnow was so critical in beating this Palafin in the end game. And once again, that's one of the reasons why Abomasnow is really cool in this format. Palafin is so common, but Water Terra with its moveset allows you to beat so much of like the Fire, Water, Grass core, right? Like, can wall Amoonguss, can't get spored by that when I'm Grass. I can Water Terra to get around Fire types and Earth Power Arcanine, and then Giga Drain into Palafin as well. Okay, Chiyu, Flutter, Murkrow, Farigiraf, Corviknight, and Tusk. In a practice game, I had lost to Taunt Corviknight. Also, Farigiraf blocks Fake Out, and there might be Tauntaun Murkrow. This is going to be kind of challenging, I think. Oh, man. How do I get around this problem? Because essentially, I can't go for the basic setups of just Fake Out in a Trick Room, so I'm thinking we lead something that, like, demolishes Murkrow early, or Farigiraf early, and then set up Trick Room in the late game. So, for example, Flutter could be interesting. Flutter Ting Lu kind of like counters its synergies with each other. Maybe I still go Flutter Bronzong, just protect into like KOing Murkrow turn 1 and then go from there. I think that's an interesting approach. Ting Lu Abomasnow in the back. Alright, that's what I think I want to do here. So my general goal is to get Trick Room up, right? But, like, there's two things that could deny me, like Trick Room Imprison Farigiraf as well as Murkrow. They're leading Chi-Yu. I honestly want to go, like, Specs, Terra, Dazzling here. And protect Abomasnow, or sorry, not Abomasnow, Bronzong turn 1. Because, like, I don't necessarily need Trick Room right now. Flutter's in a pretty good spot. I think what I'm worried about is if it ends up being Flutter just getting KO'd by, like, Overheat by Chi-Yu. That'd actually be a nightmare for me, right? I guess then I can bring out Ting Lu, though, and then EQ Trick Room. Okay, we're faster. That's good. No Protect on either. So this should do a ton to both. Oh my gosh, that's incredible damage. Citrus on Farigiraf, so no Throat Spray, Hyper Voice combo. Alright, they just Heat Wave. I would expect Imprison from Farigiraf, but if it's Imprison, I should be... If they have Imprison and Gleam, I'm in trouble. Oh, that's also bad. Man, I could have Moonblast. Maybe I Tunnel Vision a little too hard on, like, them having Imprison Trick Room. Yeah, this is a problem. I think in a lot of the games that I lose with this team, I basically, like, index super heavily on, like, expecting my point. Like, because if I had actually just fired Terra Bronzong turn 1, I could have been able to get Trick Room up successfully there, right? They played really well there. Because I wouldn't be surprised if they still indeed have Imprison plus Trick Room. I'm going to EQ Trick Room here. But I can't Terra anymore. I could have gone for Moonblast onto either slot, but I was worried about Sash. I actually think the better play was... No, basically, the logic for my play was I was expecting Imprison, maybe, or them to just click Trick Room with Farigiraf. So basically, if they do that, Dazzling does so much damage to both. And if you click Imprison, for example, the next turn Dazzling Gleam just knocks out both, and I'm in really good shape. But they made a very nice play with that Psyshock. Farigiraf switches. Into Corviknight, yeah, I am in trouble. I am in severe trouble. How do I win this game from this angle? So, like, I get Trick Room up, but how do I deal with Corviknight now? Corviknight, in general, is a pretty scary Pokemon to go up against. Like, I do have +2 Blizzard, so I think what I'm likely going to do is switch Ting Lu out into Abomasnow and Gyro Ball next turn. But I'm going to need, like, Throat Chop or Stone Edge plus a Blizzard combo onto the Corviknight. So this team had a lot of things like give us trouble, right? Like the threat of Taunt from Murkrow, the threat of Trick Room Imprison from Farigiraf. I don't know if I even switch here, honestly. I prefer to Earthquake into Protect. Like, does Farigiraf have Protect here? Okay, no Protect, so Ting Lu should get the knockout onto that, which is good. Essentially, I didn't feel safe enough to switch Ting Lu out into Abomasnow and Self-Gyro Ball. I felt like Farigiraf applies too much offensive pressure. So 2 Mons down. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. That is very bad for me. Tusk comes out. I think I didn't really assess how big of a threat Corviknight was going into this matchup until being in this scenario. Like, I didn't bring hands, and that would have been a very good solution, at least before a couple bulk ups. Alright, I'm honestly really far behind in this game. I think I'm just going to send it here, switch in Abomasnow and just Gyro Ball. Hope, like, Great Tusk protects. Corviknight, I don't know, goes for another bulk up, and then hope for a Blizzard Freeze. It's looking pretty rough right now. And I think in order to win the game, I need Abomasnow at +2. So, yeah, I'm down to go for it. They don't even protect. Yeah, it's a nightmare. That's really bad. I probably just lose this turn then. It really started from turn 1, but I also think I just did not... Oh, okay, they bulk up. Okay, that keeps me in it, I would say. A single freeze could turn the tides right now. Never mind, that probably KOs me, right? If I'd actually just stayed in and clicked Earthquake and Gyro Ball, I would have been better off. I guess from their end, there's not that much reason to protect because there's still so many turns of Trick Room to stall out. Actually, we could still win with a Stone Edge critical hit as well, so I'm not going to give up yet. I'm not even sure if Stone Edge crit KOs, to be honest, but I'll try. Yeah, Corviknight's a big problem for us, right? Because it's like, it prevents me from just spamming Earthquake as easily. They don't protect. Gyro does a good amount. I mean, if Stone Edge were to actually crit here, it could win. Never mind. That was a crit, and I still only did 60. As they go for another bulk up. Yeah. I guess if close combat somehow doesn't KO Ting Lu here, we could win. But that's ambitious thinking. Yeah, this duel really put in work, huh? Arcanine could have been okay for me. I think the reality is just, like, if Corviknight gets boosted up, I'm just in bad shape. Sacrificing Ting Lu earlier would have given me a better shot. Like, if I had just given up Ting Lu, Gyro Ball, Great Tusk to break a potential Sash, I bring out the Abomasnow, Gyro Ball, Blizzard. So, I feel compelled to, like, make an aggressive prediction, but I guess in retrospect, like, I don't think I actually needed to. Since I had so many turns of Trick Room to work with from that point. So, yeah. But basically, like, what went wrong for me in this game is I didn't get Trick Room up early, and I committed my Terra, and even though the dazzling damage was really nice, I honestly just didn't expect Flutter to actually faint, but yeah, Psyshock is a really nice move to have in particular there, and it's pretty common on Farigiraf, like Hyper Voice, Psyshock, Trick Room, Imprison, Protect, you know, those are the moves I would normally expect on that Pokemon, so yeah. But I thought my opponent played that really well, and I think, I didn't realize how bad of a Corviknight matchup I had by dropping both hands and the Arcanine. And so, if I were to replay this, I would probably at least bring one of those two. And honestly, I'd probably drop Ting Lu. Like, they had double flying types with Corviknight plus Murkrow, and it was very likely at least one of the two would come out into this matchup. And so, flying types in general caused Ting Lu a lot of problems, and I should have thought about that a little bit harder in Team Preview. So, yeah. But still could have won with the resources potentially in this game. Like I said, if I just sacrificed Ting Lu there, bring out Abomasnow. Basically, I think the way I was worried about is there were 3 turns of Trick Room when I hard switched, right? So what I was worried about is my opponent protects Great Tusk. I go Gyro Ball, Earthquake. Then I just attack into the Great Tusk slot. But because the Ting Lu has not fainted, I guess the thing though is like, yeah, yeah, because I thought Tusk could have survived a Band EQ plus Gyro Ball. Like, that was my concern. So, essentially, you protect, I double up into protect. 2 turns of Trick Room left. Now I Earthquake Gyro Ball into you. You close combat KO me. 1 turn of Trick Room left. I bring out Abomasnow. You protect again. 0 turns of Trick Room left. So, that was essentially my fear. So, I don't really regret going for that play. But, yeah, kudos to my opponent because I thought they played so many of the turns in this battle just incredibly, incredibly well. What? Flutter Mane, Tusk, Torkoal, Chien-Pao, Jumpluff, Slitherwing? I am going to be honest right now, I have no idea what that's going to do to me, and I'm very scared. Okay, I think the approach is use Safety Goggles, Fire Terror Bronzong to set up Trick Room. Okay, but if I set up Trick Room, Torkoal's low-key kind of scary, right? What do I do? I'm scared. think I'll still go with hands Obama plus Ting Lu, but I honestly don't really know what to expect here. It's mainly Slitherwing. Like, I really have no experience fighting against that at all. I can't remember if we've ever fought against it on Road to Ranked, actually. Nor have I really fought against this in practice either. So, this is about to be really interesting, I think. I am fascinated. Yeah, this is scary. I think it's scary because Torkoal matches up really well into Abomasnow. It's gonna be Flutter Torkoal. Ugh. I'm honestly thinking of just protecting Bronzong turn 1 and wild charging into Flutter main. But I'm not sure that even KOs. Oh, here's another interesting play, actually. Protect Volt Switch. Into Ting Lu. Okay. Now, I feel like you would make that play if you're trying to KO the Bronzong, because Protect on Bronzong also is not that common. So that was like a really hard read, I think, right? Like, they were expecting me to go for Water Terra, I think. But I should be very well positioned with Ting Lu out now, no? Like, what's stopping me from Ground Terra Choice Band EQ right now, right? Into Trick Room? That feels really strong. Okay. Into Tusk, sure. I think I'm super well positioned now. I think I've gotten Ting Lu out into such a good spot. Like, nothing can take this Earthquake right now. And this also should mean I get Trick Room up. Okay. I would think this just one-shots Torkoal. They don't protect, yeah. CBQ. By Torkoal. I think that should honestly win us the game, because the only problem in this matchup for me was Torkoal causing issues under Trick Room, but now that Torkoal's eliminated, the rest of their team is so hyper-offensive, right? It's like, Flutter and Tusk just feint to Earthquake at this point. If you bring out Jump Pluff and you protect Tusk, try to Sleep Powder me, I'm just going to Safeguard. It's Chien-Pao. Yeah, that's not really going to do anything for them. Oh, unless it's Flying Chien-Pao. Oh, it probably is Flying Chien-Pao here, isn't it? Gyro Ball Chien-Pao. The thing is, we have Abomasnow in the back anyway, so even if you knock out Ting Lu, it's fine. Yeah, I'm down to just Gyro Ball EQ, but I do expect Flying Chien-Pao here. I think that's the only thing that can save them here. I was thinking about just hard switching Ting Lu out into Abomasnow, Gyro Ball into... Okay, they... No Terra, no Protect. Okay. Oh, that's game over then for sure. And that's how, like, this team can win really quickly, right? There are a lot of teams out there that just aren't very equipped to deal with Trick Room. And in this case, I was a little bit worried. Actually, no, I was going to say I was worried about Jump Pluff, but the reality is this Bronzong counters it so hard with Safety Goggles and Safeguard. And with hands, I would have been able to just, like, fake out Trick Room turn 1 into Safeguard turn 2. Helping on Thunderbolt was interesting. I wonder if they were just really hard reading into, like, Bronzong going for a Water Terra, but we don't even have Water Terra here. It's Fire Terra. But this was just, you know, set up Trick Room and just sweep with so much pure damage. And the thing is, once Ting Lu came out in this game, it's like I pressured both Trick Room and knocking them out, and it was really hard for my opponent to basically deal with a combination of both, right? And that basically accelerated the pace of this very significantly for me. So, yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thank you so much, as always, for joining me. Hopefully you enjoyed. This team is really fun, and hopefully I showcase the power of both Abomasnow and the Choice Band Ting Lu a little bit. But yeah, I think Trick Room is in a really interesting spot in the meta right now. I didn't bring out Arcanine at all, but I didn't feel like there were that many good games to bring it out. And with the Mirror Herb, it's very nice into other things that want to boost up, especially like Dondozo, but didn't go up against any of those comps. So yeah. Anyway, huge thank you, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, really appreciate if you consider leaving a like in the video or subscribing, and I'll see you all next time. All right, peace.